to Keep It Spiritual with myself, Chris Meredith. First of all, remember to give us a massive thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Now, in this interview, I'm so excited to bring you the lovely Radleigh Valentine. Now, Radleigh, you will know him. He is known around the world for his beautiful angel tarot decks. You know, many books like this fabulous one, How to Be Your Own Genie, that is written. But of course, you know, he is a fabulous guy working with the angel light and, you know, teaching me and you how to manifest the best life. Now, Radleigh as well is all about finding the light. He is a spark of light himself, but teaches me and you how to find that light every single day. And of course, not to be scared of spirituality. And he's bringing that light all around the world and of course to me and you right now. So here is the fabulous Radleigh Valentine on Keep It Spiritual.
Radleigh Valentine, gotta say a massive welcome to Keep It Spiritual. First of all, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. I'm doing fantastic.
What we love is shining star, shining star. So, Radleigh, with yourself, we'll start at the beginning for you. So could you let us know when your magical journey began?
I don't know. I think my magical journey has had many parts, but I mean, I had my first little like psychic thing with angels when I was 5. So, you know, right up front, my mom was really great about it. I mean, she was totally like, yeah, okay, well, because we have Native American blood in us, and so there was this whole thing of mysticism, and okay, this is legit, and we're going to pay attention to this, and so she was really great about it. I didn't really like explore it much though until really into my early 20s. That's when I really started going after it from a standpoint of study and learning and trying to like figure out exactly what it was and how did it work and what did it mean in my life. And being gay didn't work so great with mainstream religion for me. A lot of people didn't, but and so really when I got to my early 20s, that's when I started to go, okay, I need an alternate kind of spirituality. I know this aspect about myself. I've always been attracted to angels, and that's when I really started to dive into the whole thing.
I love it. And so lucky as well to have, you know, your mum that was understanding about that and kind of accepting, you know, because so many people, I mean, like with me, my dad, when I started going to spiritualist churches when I was about 16, he pulled over at the side of the road and was like, "What are you doing?" You know, and it was just, but I was just kind of like, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. But, you know, he's never got it. So, you know, for you to have your mum that was like, yeah, we're going to embrace it. I mean, that's magical, first of all.
Well, what made it especially wonderful of her is that my mom was actually the administrative assistant to the bishop of the United Methodist Church. Mm-hmm. So she was like, she had her feet in that world. And then on the other side, she had her very interesting son who was like playing with tarot and astrology and, you know, and talking to angels. So yeah, she was great. Yeah.
I love it. Love it. I bet you loved it as well. You know, I think everyone wants a son like that. Like, what's he doing there? What's he doing? And it's like, yeah, what is that? It's good.
I think half the time she was just like, I don't know what he's doing.
Leave him doing it.
But she was like, but he's fine. So we'll just let him do whatever. So.
Totally. I mean, but with you, Radleigh, you know, one thing I love about you, you're very open, you know, as a person, you know, you're very, you let people into your life, even, you know, from your accounting background and everything like that. You know, why do you think it is so important for you to show, you know, your previous life? Because I just loved researching you. And I was like, wow, this guy's come from like a normal world. And then obviously, you know, join the spiritual world later on. But it's great. It's so great. It's so real.
Honestly, Chris, I was never normal. Never was I normal. But you were right. It's like when I and this is a goofy story that I don't tell very much. But when I went to what you guys call university, I actually went to study music and dance. And there were all of these people who were coming back from Manhattan in tattered tights, rather starved. And I was like, might not be a really good career choice. And so there was a guy in the dorm who was just so, oh my God, he was so pretty. And he was studying accounting. And so I started taking accounting classes. And by the time I'd realized, oh my God, I'm going to be an accountant, I couldn't change majors again because I was out of money. So, but you know what? I love that I did accounting. I feel like it, first of all, it served me really well. I was more on the people side of accounting. My gift was managing people. When I left accounting, I had 150 employees working for me, just spread out across the United States. And that's what I was good at. But and I'm glad for it because I'm grounded by it. But when I got a certain age, I just got to this place where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I really need to pursue the thing. And my ex-boyfriend gave me a book by John Holland to read on the beach with my brothers, and I read it, and that changed everything. That was the thing where I went, that's it. This is what I'm going to do, and that launched. But it didn't happen overnight. I mean, it took a while, but then when it happened fast. So, because it's like since 2012, I have created 7 card decks and written 3 books. That's a lot in a very short period of time. So when it happened, it was like that. So.
It was waiting, but you put the work in, and that's one thing that I love about your story is that you've kind of built those foundations of working with people every single day, building normal relationships with people, but then of course you've taken that even further into the spiritual kind of community, and
right.
You're a real person. You're not just kind of an ego, and that's what I love. That's what I connected with you straight away. Was like, no, he's just like me. It's great.
No, and I appreciate that. And, I have 3 brothers and a sister who will take me down if I get too big for my britches. They will. They will. But they know they're supposed to. It's like I do believe that I have a humility about me, and I don't want to lose it. And so I have people who watch me, but so far, knock on wood, it just hasn't been. So far, I just don't think I can be anything other than who I am. And, so.
Yeah, and we're so glad you are who you are, and you're proud of who you are. It really does show. And one thing, I love about you, Radleigh, is that, you're a firm believer, in the power, to create your own reality. So, that's all about tapping into the magic, of the divine. So how do we start with that, Radleigh?
I guess where I would start with that is that I think that the core element to that is faith. And whether it's like I'm quintuple Sagittarius, so I'm a little bit built for faith. And I had a mom who had a strong faith. And the thing you can't talk me out of, no matter how hard you try, is that the universe loves us, that we are adored, that the divine wants us to be happy, and that we have our guardian angels and their archangels, and they're, even when everything feels stacked against us, I still have this faith that I can't let go of, don't want to let go of, that buoys me up to know that, okay, I'm not liking this particular experience, but I believe I created it, and I believe there's a purpose for it, and I believe it is going to lead me someplace good. And so let's deal with this experience and keep our eye on where we want to go. And, pay attention if the universe is throwing us signs that it's like, I know you think you want to go that way, but we need you to go this way. And when that happens, to just have the faith to go, okay, fine, well then we'll go that way.
Yeah.
And I think that faith is like the key component, because if you have that faith, if you have that thing inside of you that tells you that the universe is adoring you in every moment of every breath, then it makes it a whole lot easier to stay the course of getting where you want to go and not being deterred or discouraged because in that moment it doesn't feel good.
Totally. No, I totally agree with that as well. And faith, I always find it, to have that faith, it's very comforting, no matter what you go through. I always think you've got like a little bit of bubble wrap around you because you have that belief. It's within you, and you think sometimes, well, bad things happen to everybody, but to have that faith as well, it's so important. And like for me, it is like a protective barrier sometimes, because I always think, like when I go to bed at night, I always pray. I've always done since I was young. I don't know why, but I always do. I always speak to people in my mind. It's just the way that it is. And I've always been a massive believer in angels. And, that's just within me. That's just me. But I'll always have that strong faith. And through testing times, like the whole world has been through, going through, having that faith, it's just so important to have, isn't it?
It totally is. And I think that, the other side of that is, I think that for people like you and like me, where we have that bubble wrap, we have to remember, I think, sometimes that there are also people who don't have that bubble wrap. And so I can say things like faith is key, but if that doesn't come natural to you and you haven't worked on it, or you haven't, I call it going to the faith gym, where you start with little things that where you start to have faith in angels, or faith in the divine, or source, or whatever word you want to call it. Then I think that people like you and I have to remember that, and we have to try to help people find their bubble wrap, which is a sentence I never thought I'd hear myself say. I'm just using your vernacular, but if I have anything that I'm trying to do, I am trying to help people to lose their fear of spirituality. It shifts back and forth. There was a real time where I thought the magical life thing was going to kind of be the thing. That's why I wrote Genie. But it's right now, with the world being upside down and bonkers, people just don't want to be scared. And so that's what I spend my time doing, is trying to help people. So
totally, all about the bubble wrap. Who thought we'd be talking about bubble wrap? Don't know where that come from, Radleigh.
But it's fine. It works. It's a good analogy.
I love it. Well, you mentioned, the book there, how to be your own genie. Myself, I've not got my hands on it yet. Amazon is still dealing with it. It's on its way. So I'm going away next week. So I've got your book, to read, and I'm looking forward to it. So I know it was a massive seller, all around the world. Introduce people to yourself, Radleigh, as well. So, what was the inspiration for the book, first of all?
Hay House, actually, I've been really lucky because I have a fantastic publisher who is really good to me. And whereas the normal thing that happens with a publisher is you submit things to them and they say, yes, we'd like this, Hay House just keeps coming to me and going, we were talking about you in a meeting yesterday. And so Genie actually sort of came from them coming to me. And they really wanted me to talk about, okay, here's what everybody wants to know. How do you go from being a certified public accountant to spiritual teacher? How did that happen? And this is it, How to Be Your Own Genie. It's very purple. Hay House likes purple for me for some reason. But one of the things I tell people is, this is my heart and this is my head. Okay, the compendium of magical things. This is my heart. And this was scary a little bit to write, because you say I'm very open, and I am. It's like I am just like, here I am, blah. And I had this belief system that you were referring to before about manifesting a magical life, about how it actually happens, and it's a patchwork quilt of all these different things throughout my life that I sewed together into what was my belief system. And to write Genie was scary for me, because it was like I felt like one of two things was going to happen. I was either going to write this book, and it was going to be this thing of, yes, right, this is my system, this is how it works, and it makes sense, and I'm proud of it, or it was going to come out that I'm just lucky. And I didn't like the latter. First of all, I'm not entirely sure I believe in the concept of lucky, but because that's a sort of like a fated thing where we're not like in control of our life. So I'm kind of not entirely sure I'm into that. But you know, when I got done with Genie, I was like, okay, whew. So Genie is very much my heart. It tells people about how to have a magical life through all these different aspects. And yeah, I was actually pitching the Hay House this compendium of magical things, and they came back with, well, yeah, we want that, but what if you also wrote this? And so it was like, oh wow, okay, sure, let's do that.
I love it. I love it that you've done, everything as well. And of course, you've got the Angel Wisdom Tarot cards. They're coming out in October as well. So those are going to be beautiful. They're coming.
So excited for Angel Wisdom to come out. This is what Angel Wisdom looks like. It is my favorite card deck I've ever created. The artist is this guy named Dan Craig, who is just the best. I mean, it's like I have worked with amazing artists. Steve A. Roberts in particular kind of comes to mind, but also some other artists that, like Michael Marius George and people that other people have known. But Dan is just the bomb. He doesn't, and as I have worked with artists, I've tried to hire or collaborate with artists who knew nothing about tarot. I didn't want them to know anything, because I didn't want them to fight with me about it, because it's like, no, we're not having the guy with 10 swords laying in the pool of blood. We're not having him. Sorry, he's fired, he's gone. And, I just didn't want to have that kind of argument. And artists are wonderful to work with, but illustrators are better to work with. And Dan is an illustrator, and a very renowned one. And he has just made killer illustrations, and we immediately hired him to do the deck that I have coming out in 2021, and we're thinking about him for the deck that's coming out in 2022. So
exciting, so exciting. And that's one thing, Radleigh, I mean, your tarot, the way that you do them, they're a little bit softer. That's the way I would describe it. They're softer versions for the world. They're not, all, because tarot can be a little bit scary, especially if you're new to it. It's like, what's that? What's the devil? And, it can be a bit like in your face. But the way that you've kind of introduced it to the world is softer, which for me, I absolutely love.
Well, that's very much in line with the helping people not be afraid of spirituality. And it's like, I've not tried to purposely water down tarot. So whenever I have tried to take out symbolism from tarot, it's just been to remove the gore. I've tried to put something back in, something that doesn't alarm the soul. And, tarot is 600 years old. It was done at a time when people could not read in masses. It was done at a time when life was hard. And so, you could put like a death card in there, even though it doesn't mean a physical death, and it resonated to them in some way. But now we've had 600 more years as souls to incarnate in and out and in and out and in and out. And we don't need that. I mean, we just don't need, this harsh symbolism or gore. And in fact, I feel like we as souls have developed to such a point that old imagery is just it's shocking and puts us in a place where we are not as connected to the divine as we could be. And so by taking that out but keeping the true meaning of the cards, and when I say true meaning, I do mean true meaning. It's like, there was never going to be a little guy in a red suit with a pitchfork chasing you around because you got the devil card. That was never going to happen. And so why represent it that way? Why refer to it that way when it doesn't make any sense?
Totally. No, but I love it, and I love it, and it's a great introduction for people as well. People, are maybe new to tarot. It's a nice way in, which I absolutely love. So, I mean, for me, thank you for doing that as well, Radleigh. Really, thank you. But we need to talk more about, your relationship, with angels, guardian angels. I mean, I absolutely love, talking about angels. I could talk about them all day. But, could you describe, your connection with them, Radleigh, if that's all right?
Sure, of course. So I love archangels, and I know why people love archangels. I get it. They're, it's like they're very sexy, and I don't mean that from a physical attraction thing. It's just a sexy concept of, oh, here are these. And some people say 7, some people say 15. Here are these archangels. And they have very specific roles in my life. And we as human beings, we like that. We like that whole thing of, oh, well, and I'm in Archangel Blue and Michael Blue and Gold today. So it's like, we like that. We like that. Okay, I don't feel safe. That's Archangel Michael. He comes in a sapphire blue, and I know what to do with that, and I know how to reach out. It's like having a Rolodex. Oh, God, that dated me. It's like having the address book in your phone and going, it's like, I need a plumber, and you call a plumber, and so people like that. The thing that, and it's legit, I'm all about it, but the thing that I want to keep reminding people is that the front lines of your life are being walked through the divine path with your guardian angels. That's who's on the front lines with you. You are not sharing them with anybody. It's not Chris calling Archangel Michael and Radleigh calling Archangel Michael. It's literally Radleigh's guardian angels and Chris's guardian angels, and they came into this life with you, and they will walk you back at the end of it. And then when you come into a new life, they will come back into that new life with you. And they are, it's like, what do I want to call that? It's like a designer. Your guardian angel, this is new. Okay, your guardian angels are a designer brand angel just for you. Okay.
I love that.
And because of that, they present themselves in the way in which you want to, or in the way you need them to present themselves. So your guardian angels might be white and fluffy with big wings and a big halo, or they might look like, a trucker. It's what do you need? And they will tailor make themselves to your specific needs, to what you need in order to feel safe. And they're there with us all the time. And so it's just this thing. It's like, I'm just like the cheerleader for the guardian angel clan of, it's like, come on, guys. It's like, they're there, ask for their help, get their assistance. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you walk 1 minute of one day out into the world without this unconditionally loving, non-judging, perhaps going like this a lot, at least in my case, but, beings that are here is this direct connection to source, to God, goddess, divine, whatever word, to this direct connection for you. And so my experience with them has really been like a powerful thing in my life for pretty much all of my life. And so when I'm teaching about angels, we're just wrapping up my Angel Oracle certification course. So it's like, as I've taught about people with angels, I'm wanting them to have that experience. I'm wanting it to be palpable and poignant, and for them to walk away from the class going, I have this new connection to something I really didn't have a connection to knowingly before. Now I knowingly have that connection.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It really is. I just think, for people to find it, and like you said, Radleigh, why, wouldn't you, ask for the help? If you need it, ask. It's there for everyone. Doesn't matter what your bank balance is. It doesn't matter how popular you are. All that's away. Everyone's got, their own guardian angel. And if you don't believe it, I always say, take a chance. See, ask. What's the worst that could happen? And, I think, we're very lucky to live a life that we live. And I think, bringing the angels in, it is more of a magical life.
And, one of the saddest things that I think anyone's ever said to me, and ironically, I was in a metaphysical bookstore when this happened. So you wouldn't think this would happen, right? Okay. But the girl that worked in the metaphysical bookstore, she knew who I was. And so she said, oh yeah, she's like, I don't have any guardian angels. I sent them away when I was 16 and they never came back. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. It's like everybody has their journey. It's an interesting journey she was picking, but it doesn't work that way, because it's like we as human beings, once again, we tend to humanize the divine. Okay, this is where we get this cuckoo concept of a wrathful God. Okay. This God who gives you free will, but will send you to a place called hell if you use it. So it's nutso, but it's a human thing. It's a humanizing thing, because we have a tendency in this existence to go, there's bad and there's good, and bad means you go to this place called hell, and good means you go to heaven, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just all so, it makes God so small. And to relate that back to angels, people do the same thing to angels, to have this concept that these gorgeously pure love entities would get mad at you for having a human experience and not getting it quite right, is just also cuckoo. And so one of the things that people have to get their minds around is that angels do not have egos, and they're not going to judge you. And if you are feeling like you are getting messages from angels that are judgy or harsh or mean, I guarantee you it is just your own ego talking to you. It is not your angels, because they do not talk that way. And so it's like, just like you said, give it a go.
Angels have got your back. They do have your back. They really do. Well, Radleigh, for yourself, what do you love most about doing what you do?
The teaching, for sure. I mean, it's like, there's just not even, and this year has been a year because of pandemic and all of this. It's like, at the first of the year, my calendar got whooshed away. And I have a really amazing team that they're just the best. And they were so excited to see my travel schedule get deleted, because to them, they were like, now we can do all the things we wanted to do. Now we can do the fun stuff, the big stuff. Now we can reach more people. Now we can really make a difference. And so, it's like, it's sort of this goofy thing with me, because I kind of forget a little bit. I mean, I know how to design. I'm very gregarious. You point a camera at me or put me on stage and I light up like a Christmas tree. That's also Sag, right? With a Leo North Node. I'm just designed for this. But I can also sort of like go to sleep and forget. And then I'll go and do like a Zoom, and there's 250 people in the Zoom, and I'm just talking to them and answering their questions and helping them and stuff like that. And that is where I feel the most like Source is getting their money's worth out of me. That's the whole neutral thing. That's the whole thing of being of service, is you have to kind of put yourself in neutral. And that interaction, the interaction with the students, the interaction with the people who are there to learn, to meet their angels for the first time, to learn tarot for the first time, to figure out what language of the divine is the one that they want to communicate to Source with. That's the stuff. That's what I love, for sure.
Oh, Radleigh Valentine, well, thank you so much for your time, and of course being on Keep It Spiritual. It's been a pleasure. Gotta have you on again as well. Good luck with the new cards coming out, and it's just been beautiful to get to know you. So thank you, Radleigh.
My pleasure.
There we are, that was the fabulous Radleigh Valentine. Remember, if you want to know anything about Radleigh, I'll pop everything in the description below. And of course, if you wanted to purchase any of his books or his cards, the link is in the description. And of course, I've got to say thank you so much for watching Keep It Spiritual. Remember to give us a massive thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. And now, until next time, this has been Keep It Spiritual. I've been Chris Meredith. I'll see you later.